So you're willing to come on. And that tells me that what happened is it's got to be some isolated crazy thing. And maybe you can explain us how it happened and how it won't happen again.
Sure. So first off, just to remind you, we've now done 4.3 million people COVID testing since this started March 13th. And, I want to remind you that every single one of these tests is a patient behind it and there's a family behind it. So we take everything we do extremely seriously. And I also want to comment, the NFL was unbelievably amazing, as they usually are, relative to how they dealt with the problem, how they dealt with the players as patients, and how they dealt with the patients' families. So that's really important as we start off this. So what happened is you have false positives. I just want to describe what a false positive. There's four things that happen. You can actually have a false positive for the specimen traveling to the lab. You could have a false positive on the analyzer itself. You could have a false positive as a result of specimen preparation, and then you could have it as a result of the lab actually being reported out. We identified relatively quickly that the analyzers and the reagents were all fine. They were running fine, and there was nothing with the lots of reagents. So we honed down pretty quickly that we knew it was a specimen preparation issue at the very beginning. So what we did is, first off, during all this, we made sure that the NFL had their players retested, which they did with a point-of-care device. And then at the same time, we reran their specimens to confirm that they were actually negative on another platform. During this entire process, we actually went through what we thought could have happened to contaminate the specimens. And let me describe to you very briefly how this works. When a specimen comes in, it goes under a very strict, it's called a biological hood. And what it is, it's an area with special airflow where we actually pour off the specimens, particularly, they can be very, very highly contagious. And we refer to them sometimes as a hot sample. So what happens is during the pour off process into these special tubes, you can occasionally might get some sort of contamination, which we prep for and we're ready for if that actually occurs. So what we did is we were able to very quickly isolate it to the NFL players that were being tested in a very small area and identify that that was most probably where the contamination occurred. So that's actually what happened in the lab at the time. So we identified it, we fixed the problem. We actually then went through a process to make sure negative controls that actually every single step of the process was going to be negative and confirmed negative going forward. So that's what happened during the process.
Don't miss a second of Mad Money. Follow @Jim Cramer on Twitter. Have a question? Tweet Cramer. #MadTweets. Send Jim an email to madmoney@cnbc.com or give us a call at 1-800-743-CNBC. Miss something? Head to madmoney.cnbc.com.